So, have you ever had a conversation with your significant other, and you've just shouted a random little pet name just to try and, lighten the mood, or, be a little bit funny or something like that, like, hello, my little sausage dog, or whatever?
Can't say I have.
Okay, right.
I think you've got a thing for pet names.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a 30-something with a 4-year-old stepdaughter and a newborn baby.
And I'm Daniel. I'm a 30-something, and I've had kids for a while, ranging from toddlers to teens.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ramblings with Dadmen. I'm joined once again, as always, by Matt. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good. Very tired, but I think that's just because I'm old. Otherwise, generally good, yeah. What have we been up to this week? Let's get straight in, though.
Let's get straight into it. Well, highlights of the week. This is quite funny. Robin had she had like a little checkup. She had a 7-week checkup, I think it is, or 7.5-week checkup, just where she went to see the doctor. And something happened, which isn't anything to worry about, but the doctor's words were, and this is to paraphrase a little bit, but the sentiment was there. She said, "How useless are pissing health visitors." That was the exact thing. So just to put some little context to that.
Yeah, I think you might need to, just to protect the rest of the health visitors that maybe aren't as useless.
Every health visitor that we've seen has been great, by the way. We have no issues with health visitors. Do not shoot me for what a doctor said. But it seems that the health visitor that came to visit us made a slight mistake. So, as we know, Robin's small. She's getting weighed every couple of weeks. And the health visitor came a couple of weeks ago to say that she'd gained weight and she was on the 9th centile. So me and Becky were really, really happy with that, and, kind of eased our anxieties a little bit. We went to the doctors, and again, everything is fine. She's perfectly healthy. But the doctors were like, yeah, I can see that she's been measured right. She's been weighed right. However, she's been there's been a significant error on the last centile. So she's actually now dropped down to the 2nd centile. So she's actually lost a little bit. She's still growing on her own line, which is great. But the doctor was like, they're useless. She's 8 weeks old tomorrow. So, if I can jump into my parenting high, because it's related, Robin is starting to smile.
Ooh.
I mean, it's something that you never warned me about, but that first smile just melts your heart. I think I screamed. I was like, oh! Like, it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It really is. If anybody, is up to our Instagram or our Facebook, there is a picture of Robin smiling there. It's very, very different to her usual her usual frown. That's been my parenting high of the week.
When you finally figure out or crack the art of making them smile, you will find yourself doing the fucking stupidest noises to try and replicate that feeling. Georgia reacted very well to certain noises, and I remember just sitting there just going, and then you watch videos back like a year later or whatever, and you just think to yourself, you fucking idiot.
What are you doing? Yeah, I can imagine that. She started to track us a little bit now. Only when she wants to. I call her Hector Salamanca at the minute because she'll never look at me in the eye. But when she wants to, she will track us. So she's definitely starting to understand that there's people here that feed her. But I can absolutely imagine that she's going to have me wrap around a little finger and I'll be doing the most stupidest things ever.
Yeah.
How about your week, eh?
To be fair, weekend we've not really done that much. Similar to what you said, my parenting high and low, actually, and parenting fail are all connected. So I'll get to that in a minute. But earlier in the week, I mentioned it last week's episode, George, you've been invited to a friend's house for tea. Turns out that another friend had also invited Georgia to her house for tea. And when she found out that George was going to the other friend's house, she got very upset and told her mum. And then her mum reached out and said, well, why is Georgia not coming to her house? She asked her first. So there was just like this social pyramid, which apparently Georgia was at the top of, and everyone wanted her to go to her house. So she ended up actually going to somebody else's house for tea during the week.
Wow.
Playground
politics.
Exactly. But what she actually did when she went, though, she ended up trying new foods and realising that she actually liked pickles.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
for of all things. It just sort of struck me that if I or Beck would have ever asked Georgia to try pickles, she'd have just bare-faced told us to go fuck ourselves in the most polite, child-friendly way. Whereas when she's at somebody else's house, she's so polite and she will just try it. I don't know. Maybe it's peer pressure. But,
wow.
But yeah, so my parenting high, low, and parenting fail all came yesterday when Georgia suggested to me, can you play with me? Will you play Snakes and Ladders? For context, she's had this board game for a good couple of years. We got it when she was in reception, I think. Counting was still, evolving. She understood the concept of down snakes and up ladders, but moving around the board was a bit of a challenge. To my amazement, and that was the high and it was just nice because we'd never revisited that for quite a long time. We'd never really played Snakes and Ladders for ages. So me and George had played that for a good hour. And then the low came in that same game where
did you get to square 99 and you had to go down the snake?
Well, no, that's the problem. I was on square 98 and she was still on 51, and I was just playing properly and maybe going a little bit too hard. So she ended up crying a little bit. So I had to keep playing until she won.
Oh.
So I think that fail and the law is obviously making her cry from playing the game properly, which I disagree with. Is that more parenting? But playing a little bit too hard, potentially just realise that she is still 6 and maybe lose on purpose.
Yeah. I remember playing Snakes and Ladders with Flossie and getting to square 99 and praying for Christ that I didn't get a 1. I was like, give me a 6 right now because I don't want to deal with the consequences. Our parenting-in-law, really, it's a bit of a tentative one because frustratingly we don't have to deal with it, I guess. But Flossie has the chicken pox, which it was discovered over at when she was at her mum's house, and this weekend was meant to be at her dad's. So her dad is doing the brunt of it. To be fair, it's just disappointing that we can't really see her because chickenpox is quite dangerous around newborns. Apparently, this is something that we found out, so we've kind of had an agreement that we'll swap the days, for want of a better word, and try and see Flossie a little bit more next week when she isn't as contagious anymore.
Yeah,
we're not going to see her for a few days, but ultimately it's safer for Robin, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
It's just a bit of a not nice time, really, especially for Becky.
Yeah.
Hopefully, touch wood, she'll be right as rain in a few days' time.
Every time I hear about a kid having chickenpox, I just think I can't help it, but I just think of South Park.
With Cartman, right?
Yeah, playing Ucky Mouth.
Oh God, that goes back a little. That goes back a good while.
And then when you start thinking about that, you start thinking about Chef and his chocolate salty balls.
Oh, yeah.
Sailor.
I remember having that album. In fact, I'm pretty sure I nicked it off a blonde guy that should remain nameless. But I'm pretty sure I nicked it off him.
What's that, like 98, 99?
Oh, God, maybe, yeah.
Fun times. Speaking of, I mean, this sort of definitely, it links forward to the recommendation stuff. And I know I gave this last week, but I pretty much spent the week watching Men Behaving Badly.
And do you know what? I've been watching it as well. Not probably as linear as you. I didn't go from series to series, but I have been haddocking little episodes here and there just when I've got half an hour with a baby and Becky's doing something. I love it.
It is.
Yeah.
To be fair, Most of the episodes I've seen, but there's one or two that I've watched that I've maybe seen once.
We've done a bit of a rehash of a series this week, and for no other reason than Becky said, "Oh, I fancy it." It kind of makes me feel, when just a series makes you feel wholesome and quite nice. And we've been starting Gavin and Stacey again.
Controversial potentially. Never a Gavin and Stacey fan. Don't know. Maybe it's just James Corden. Maybe it's just a bit too over the top.
Yeah, it's definitely held its own rehashing it because I've never watched it series to series. I've probably watched most of the episodes on repeat or something like that, or scanning through them. There might be a couple that I've missed.
I carried on with the nostalgia and started watching, like you just said, rewatching a few things. I watched a couple of episodes of An Idiot Abroad as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. You forget just how good that was. And then I flipped through a few episodes of The Office, and then I went on to Black Sails. I don't know if that's something you've ever watched.
No.
I'll take that as a recommendation then. It's not a big investment in terms of time. It's like 38 episodes. But like the fourth series completely twists everything that you think about the main character.
Wow. Sounds good.
Pirating. It's about pirates in the 1800s.
Oh,
so, it's one of those things. Could you class that? Is it a period drama? There's a lot of action. There's a lot of we're amongst friends now. There's a lot of boobs. Just a lot of good stuff in it, to be fair.
Sounds good. Well, I have a recommendation for you this week, and it isn't film or TV related.
Ooh, go on then.
So, have you ever had a conversation with your significant other, and you've just shouted a random little pet name just to try and, lighten the mood or, be a little bit funny or something like that, like, hello, my little sausage dog or whatever?
Can't say I have.
Okay, right.
I think you've got a thing for pet names. We'll keep that one as an in-joke for now.
Yeah. That's fine. I said something like yesterday, like completely out of context. Becky asked me to do something. I said, "All right, Billy Bear, calm down." Right. So, and she laughed and she says, "I cannot believe I'm saying this," because it got me into so much trouble. Because she said, "Why have you called me Billy Bear?" And honestly, right, I don't mean this, but I just like having a laugh and trying to joke with her. The first thing that came into my head. She said, "Why Billy Bear?" And I said, "Well, Porky." I don't mean it. I shouldn't have said it.
You're in so much trouble.
Oh, God, I know. It's the first thing that came into my head, we were talking about. I mean, she did get me back. I mean, we are vegan at the minute, but she vegan hammed me.
I mean, is that like something you say for the bedroom? What the fuck?
She got a piece of vegan ham, threw it across the living room, and face planted me with it.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay.
I must say it was. I don't know where Billy Bear came from, but like, never say the first thing in my head.
On the thing of vegan, I actually did try one of the McPlant burgers during the week.
Oh, we've still not tried it yet. How did that?
Disappointed, I suppose. It's all right. I mean, if you're vegan and you want a burger fix, then by all means. A friend of mine was actually telling me that it's not like a McDonald's special. It's an actual company that do make these, and they've just sort of brought them in for a limited period of time.
All right, okay.
Worth a try.
Yeah, we're probably going to give it a go. In Wigan, there is actually a vegan Chinese place, which is, I mean, it's really, really nice, to be honest with you, but it's expensive. But yeah, I mean, you could try that if you wanted.
I'll stick to the meaty cheap one.
You stick to your chicken.
Why you've mentioned it, that's just actually flagged a memory. Beck showed me Chinese buffet in Wigan.
The robot.
Yeah.
Oh man, how good is that? I showed Becky yesterday. Like, what the fuck is all that about?
Yeah, I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
For anyone who's not seen that and has been living under a rock, they've basically now got a robot that serves you your food. You can order 3 plates on an app, and then a robot just serves it to your table.
Yeah.
It's like everything you could imagine the future to be.
There's no walking involved. You just sit down at the table and enjoy. It looks well good. I'm definitely have to go to this now.
When you're not vegan, obviously.
When I'm not vegan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So this week I wanted to talk about 2 things really. Quite serious, quite parenting related in, for a change. Obviously we've got people that are listening to this that are having babies for the first time. And I wanted to put myself and you on the spot and talk about 3 things that you never expected from being a dad. So, like, people tell you about something. Like, people tell you about the sleepless nights. You never really prepare yourself, do you? So is there anything like that you can think of on the top of your head that you think just a couple of things that maybe anyone that's listening to this may think, wow, I've never thought about that before?
Okay, so I don't steal all of yours. Do you want to take it in turns and we'll do one each?
Okay.
Because I've got a couple in my head. I mean, the first one sounds basic, but dressing the baby. You can practice on a doll, anything like that. Nothing actually prepares you for dressing a newborn, because you just treat it as this massively fragile being, and you don't want to, like, they're almost very rigid in position because they've been cooped up for 9 months growing in a specific place. So arms and legs don't want to move out too much. So you're almost at the very beginning too scared of pulling and hurting the baby. Like, no one prepared me for that. If any family members have got newborn babies and you're expecting, have a go.
Yeah.
Dressing that baby and get familiarize yourself with the fact that they are super fucking rigid.
Genuinely, that was going to be half my point as well. I was just going to further it on a little bit. So the first thing I didn't know, it kind of is the same thing as that, but don't be afraid to throw your baby around a little bit for a little bit. And I don't mean like chuck it like a rugby ball.
Fucking hell.
Babies aren't going to break, are they? Is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, right.
Hold on, right. So last week you brought Florence to tears because she jumped on a bed. You've just contradicted your own statement that you're happy to throw Robin about.
No, what I mean, babies are rigid, but once you see doctors do like the flexibility tests and they throw them around, they rip the limbs to pieces, they like do the cycles and move the arms all over the place. What I'm trying to say is babies aren't going to break if you move their arms around.
No, they're not. They're not. Something you've just said then. So that flexibility test, when Georgia was in hospital, the doctor came around to see her and he did this flexibility test on her where he basically just put his hand behind her back and then sort of dropped her like an inch or 2 just to see if her arms and legs would flail out.
Yeah.
Like, what the you fucking don't do that again, you know, bet.
Yeah.
And then I had to remind myself that he was a trained physician and knew exactly what he was doing.
Again, I was completely the same. When Robin finally came out of the when she finally came out of Becky in the hospital, like the midwife dressed her first. I was like, I was so scared of doing something wrong or touching her, or I was so gentle with her because she was tiny and stuff. But the way that the midwife did it, I mean, they're totally used to it, aren't they, and stuff like that. Yeah. But just don't be afraid that you can. Your babies are more flexible than you, for a start. You're probably old and a bit achy. You can put your baby in some angles and it's gonna be fine.
The doctor actually did say this to me once, that the tendons and ligaments in babies are almost like gristle. And it's not until kids mature, until they're sort of 16, 17, 18, that they start becoming very soft and flexible and loose. So they're almost like they're stronger than bone when they're younger.
Yeah.
That's why kids have operations when they're young and bounce back and make full recoveries quite easily. Whereas when you're older, all those tendons and whatnot have turned to it's like an elastic band that you've pulled for 16 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's just all floppy and can't be arsed getting up in the morning. Sorry, no, that's just me. Point number 2 then, for me, is definitely the smells.
All right, okay.
Like, no one can prepare you for just how bad the belly button falling off, that fucking stinks. Like nothing can. They say it smells bad, but nothing's ever smelled that bad. And then just some of the poos and stuff like that. No one prepares you for some of the smells, and you do. Oddly enough, you just start accepting it for what it is.
Yeah.
And just get on with life, and then that becomes your smell.
Yeah, I can fully agree with that. Like, being pissed on the other day was like, this is just something that happens to me now, as my t-shirt was getting warmer and warmer. But Robin has got this thing where she will only poo every other day, and on the day that she doesn't at the minute, she stinks. Like she farts on you 24/7. Like, but I mean, it's fine. But like, when that poo finally comes on the second day, it is Armageddon down there, and you just have to deal with it now, don't you? Like, she finally goes and it's there, and then she gets her feet in it because she's kicking, and then what I'm basically saying, it's a 2-person job. So
well, what you've basically just admitted to there is you can't change your shitty nappy, so you end up asking Becky for help.
One of us has to hold her legs, because otherwise it's going, and then it's all over the place, and then so I agree. While I can deal with the smell, it's the carnage. Like,
I used to watch Beck changing Georgia, and she's got this proper ninja grip with like a left hand would just hold both of her feet, one between her thumb and one between a little finger, and then just up. And it's like, what's this? I'm watching Karate Kid.
Yeah, he definitely. I have not mastered that skill just yet. Like, with wet nappies, I'm fine. I'm better. The carnage nappies are taking a bit of getting used to, but not because of the smell per se. It's just that I don't want it all over the walls. So, in terms of mine, and it sounds pathetic, really. Like, as much as people tell you that you're not going to get some sleep and this and this, and it's not so much about sleep, to be honest, but no one prepares you for that level of constantness. Robin doesn't know when she's going to cry. Like, she's going to cry at some point, but you have to devote your whole time to try and appease her, whether that's feeding her, whether that's changing her, whether that's trying to rock her to sleep. There have been times that I have been up in the landing in pitch black, just walking her down just to try and, calm her down, or sit with her belly on my shoulder to try and ease the belly pain that's happening, and no one prepares you for that constantness. It's not like baby feeds, then she sleeps, then she feeds, then she sleeps. There's always a reason for it. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, there's no
one tells you that you cannot have 5 minutes.
I mean, I did.
Well, you did, but no one prepares you for that.
No. I mean, I think one of the things I suggested was go on like an army boot camp where every 30 minutes for a week, they just constantly get you up, and it's like, it is brutal.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. There's just no off button, and it is grueling. It gets better. So for anyone expecting the first child, that doesn't last forever. That is just not got to that forever bit yet.
Yeah. I've got one more. Okay.
But I feel like I'm going to steal yours.
Oh, go on. No, I don't think you are.
Okay. No one can, and you've sort of loosely mentioned this already, but no one can prepare you for just how much love that you're going to have for this baby.
Yeah.
And you said that before, and that sort of struck a chord with me, like the first time they smile at you, or the first time that they want to play with you, when they ask you to pick them up, the first time they fall asleep on you. No one can prepare you for that feeling like a god type of emotion where you mean everything to this person at that one particular time. I mean, that all changes when they become a teenager and you the Antichrist. But you hear the phrases like, I would do anything for my kid. But until you've actually lived through a moment like that, you cannot put it into words, or you can't experience the feeling and the raw emotion of I would do anything for this person.
Yeah.
No, you can't prepare for that, really.
Yeah, no, I fully 100% agree with that. Like, there is just you look into this person's eyes and it's just a completely different kind of love, isn't it? It's like where you physically feel warm inside, kind of. So yeah, so I fully understand that. And what I was going to say, and it was related to sleep, but not so much the lack of sleep, but I sleep differently now. Like I sleep so much more lighter. You know, if Robin moves in the night, I'm up straight away. It's almost like that I sleep, but there's like a third eye that's always on alert. Sometimes that alert is like, you know, misinterpreted, and it happened where I jumped out of bed last night because I thought Robin was in the bed. She wasn't. Like, I was obviously having some sort of like, but you know what I kind of mean? It's almost like you're a guard dog as well.
Yeah, constant state of preparedness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was something I was actually going to say when you were talking about the sleep on your last point. Your sleep pattern does change. You become a lighter sleeper because you're always sort of on edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. That never leaves you. You know, you hear a cough and you've constantly got one ear open.
Yeah. I mean, no one really told me about that, to be honest, but not only does your life change, but you change, I guess, is what I'm kind of leading at, is that, and you know, if there is anybody that's listening and they are expecting, and not just be prepared, but you will have these changes as well, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
You know, I think that constant sleep deprivation brings on that constant state of preparedness because you're no longer sleeping for 8, 12 hours, but because you're up every couple of hours, it almost changes your body's circadian rhythm where you used to being up every couple of hours.
Yeah.
I very much got into the pattern of living off little to no sleep, and I can still quite easily now stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep for 4 or 5 hours, get up at 7, and be fine all the way through the day. Walk the dog, do everything, just get on with my day. I could quite easily go to sleep at 11 o'clock because I'm old.
I try to have a decent routine where I try to go to bed at a decent time, but there are times where, you know, I have pulled all-nighters and I'm fine with that, and I can go off 5, 6 hours sleep. Funnily enough, if I get more sleep, I tend to feel worse. So if I get into like 10, not that I've had 10 hours sleep recently, but if I get into like 10, 11 hours sleep, I feel terrible.
I don't think you're going to have that problem anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I agree. Another thing that I've been thinking about this week, and it's largely changed. And I want to preface this that at one aspect we're quite lucky because over the past 18 months we've been saving quite ferociously into trying to buy a house, and you know, just having a few little savings, and you know, trying to be adults for me for the first time in 35 years. So we are in a little bit of a fortunate position. However, I've recently took a massive pay drop. For me, that was the completely right thing to do. The time that I get to spend with Robin is far more important for me, and there's things that I would have had to do in my last job, which I just wouldn't be able to do now. For me, quality of time rather than money is something that's important to me. But on top of that is that Becky's maternity money has now started in terms of her actual job. Has money ever been like an issue where you've really struggled?
We knew that, you know, Beck was going on maternity pay for so long, so we planned accordingly and changed our lifestyle to suit that. That makes sense. Like we didn't.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Didn't go out. We don't live an extravagant lifestyle. I don't drive a Ferrari. There's none of that shit. I mean, I wouldn't fit in a Ferrari anyway. But yeah, we never lived an extravagant lifestyle, so it wasn't too hard for us anyway. But yeah, we did feel the pinch when Beck went on maternity pay. We just, as you said, just preempted that. We knew that was coming, so we started budgeting more. We were more budget conscious. I suppose that's how we coped with it. We were more aware of how much money we'd spend on a weekly food shop, and we had a cap on that hard limit. We were considerably stricter, I would say, because we knew that, you know, finances were going to be reduced for a period of time. Naturally, when that ended, that was great. and we could buy beans and sausage on toast. Plus, just beans.
I think without to sound patronising to anyone, but anyone in this situation where they have a kid, you know, if we can take any advice, for want of a better term, is really start thinking from now.
Yeah.
9 months goes very, very quickly, and there is a little foresight that you'll have to have. Just have that little, 10, 15 minutes to try and think, well, how can we afford this and how can we afford that? Maybe save 10% of your income, maybe if you can say, just start thinking that things will get more difficult in the next few months, I guess.
Just to clarify, we are not financial advisors in any way, shape or form.
No, we are not. But, however,
it is good advice. I mean, if you can afford to do that, great.
Yeah.
I mean, most often than not, you can't. Child benefit over in the UK, that was an absolute godsend.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that helps a lot. State benefits, definitely help a lot of people. It's a serious topic, but there's a lot of things around that at the minute. Is it enough? Is it helping people? Since COVID happened, that divide between the rich and the poor has gone bigger, and the poor have got poorer. Things are getting tougher. I once heard a crazy stat this, and I know 95% of statistics are made up on the spot. That one was, this one isn't. I once read that it actually costs around 180 grand to raise a kid to age 18.
Wow. Okay.
Break that down, 10 grand a year, roughly, 833 quid a month. Quick maths. Makes sense. I mean, obviously, you're not going to spend 833 quid when they're younger. They only want formula and stuff like that. As they get older, they want bigger and better and more expensive things. They cost more. It's relative. The older they are, the more they cost.
But again, you say they only want formula, but 12 quid a tub, that's a significant outlay, isn't it? That could be £70 a month, maybe, if not more. Then you factor in nappies.
You are literally throwing money away with nappies.
Yeah.
But then you're increasing bills as well, because I don't know about you, but a washing machine was literally never up. It was on every day.
You talk to me, right? And I don't want to paint this picture that we live in a perfect rose-tinted world. I am sat in my dining room as I speak, with next to me the biggest pile of washing you can ever imagine, which eventually I'm going to have to fold away and put in, but I just don't want to do it. Yeah.
Who enjoys washing? That's the most boring grown-up task that I know of.
I don't mind folding clothes away. I find it quite therapeutic, but I have to do it. I have to build myself up to it, and I have to put some music on or put a podcast on and just, spend the next hour and a half, because that's how long it takes usually, because there's so fucking much of it.
That's us getting old, That's us actually growing up and becoming middle-aged people, of accepting that you have to wash pots, you have to do the washing and drying, you have to iron. Fucking ironing's just... I hate ironing.
Do you slot yourself an hour at a time to do some ironing, or do you iron the day you need to?
I'm going to save myself the embarrassment of podmin and say that I have not done any ironing for many years. I have brought on this to myself. What a knobhead. I didn't want to admit this out loud. Beck does all the ironing in the house, and I am eternally grateful for that. When I did used to iron, I was only ever allowed to iron my own clothes for reasons that we'll not get into, mainly because I'm shit at ironing. But yeah, so Beck's sort of taking control of that. So I actually feel the need to then go off and do other household tasks while she's ironing, because I can't sit there knowing that Beck's ironing and I'm sat watching Top Gear or something.
You can put a cheeky hour on, I don't know, Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto or something.
You just iron my pants and my shirt, love. Thanks. Come on, hold on. I've just got to do this race now. Yeah, not that. I have to go and make myself do something, anything, tidy a drawer, wash the pots, put them away, do some gardening, literally just don't be in the same room as her ironing, sat down, resting.
I don't think Becky would mind me saying that she is 100% on your side on this argument. She despises ironing and just doesn't do it. Like, she doesn't need to do it, in fairness. Like, all of her clothes are generally crease free. I don't know how she does it.
That's the Dadvice. That's the parenting hack. Buy clothes that don't need ironing.
Yeah.
I don't know what material it is, but it's not fucking cotton.
Yeah. I cannot understand why people like spend 2 hours on a Sunday night doing their ironing.
They're lazy and they leave it till Sunday night.
Well, I just do it once at a time. So I'll do 7 lots of ironing throughout the day. Like, if I need a shirt, I'll iron the shirt there and then everything just gets like.
Who are you?
What? Why?
You are these people that fucking enjoy ironing. What? No. Why would you
I will do
so
7
much?
times a day. If I need to wear a shirt, if I'm going out and I need to put a shirt or a polo shirt or something like that, I'll iron it there and then as part of like the getting ready routine.
Right, okay. So does everything in your wardrobe, is that ironed?
Well,
Or
it's
is that-
folded, but it
It's
isn't ironed.
in your wardrobe creased, and you will iron it when you need to use it.
I wouldn't say creased, but it's certainly not ironed.
Okay.
So I don't iron the washing, then put it in the cupboard. I will dry it, and then I would put it in the cupboard or the wardrobe or whatever, and then I will iron it when I need to.
So you're halfway between organised and lazy.
Yes, I agree.
You do what's needed of you when it's required of you, whereas I would rather go out in creased clothing.
I would agree that I would do what's needed of me when required of me at all times. And to be a successful dad, husband, partner, don't be like Matthew.
Priority reorganisation. Let's just classify it as that.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we're lucky at the minute. Well, I say we're lucky, but usually when one person has to do something, that's generally because the other person has a baby on them. So, that's the 5 minutes respite that we get. Just before we leave then, it's just as promised, we did say that once we get to 1,000 followers, we would do another competition. We are doing another competition. If you'd like to check out Instagram at Ramblings of Dadmen to find out what that is and how to enter. As professional as ever, we haven't decided how long this is going to run for, but we would assume that by the next podcast, maybe, we'll have a winner for you.
Well, you said that. We have actually decided. Good to see that we are talking and communicating very well. Winner to be announced 10th of Feb.
10th of Feb. Okay, fine. Listen, watch the. Please, I don't know. Thanks. Thanks for listening.
Listen, watch, do something. Go and find us on Instagram, and there's a post that says 1K giveaway. That's because, as we said before, once we hit 1,000 followers, we would do another giveaway. We are doing a giveaway. There's some rules. They are on the post. Go and find it. You will see another post on there, which was taken, I think, today, I believe, of you, Matt, up a hill.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I just wanted to say that maybe this is the dad coming out in me, right? I looked at that picture, love the picture of you pushing a pram in a nice warm coat and a scarf and a hat. Great. The first thing I saw on that was the pram wheels. And I actually genuinely thought to myself, oh, that's going to be a bastard to clean.
Oh, and let me assure you, it's so much of a bastard to clean. The pram is still in our boot. It's being forgotten about until tomorrow. Yeah, we went up to Pennington Flass, which is like a lake in Lee, near where we live. And we went because we thought the roads were going to be fine. Let's just say that the path was not suitable. So that is a job for tomorrow. And on that note, we shall see you next week, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks everyone for listening, and I'll let you know how clean the wheels are next week.
See you later.
See you later.